I started getting heavily into just like kind of looking into the occultism, the secret societies. Just one day, it just hits me. I'm studying these orders, these names, who supposedly started this, where the fuck it was, this and that. And I still don't know what the hell magic is. I just know all these names in these places and these horrible people. You start getting into it myself. Like, start reading up on it, like more. And I started to get into a few like magic books and started reading them. And even I started seeing contradictions. I think it was Donald Michael Craig. He had like 12 or 13 lessons in high magic. And he had the Liber in there, which is Resh is it's a prayer that Aleister Crowley wrote. And I had that his writing, I think it's just a few pages, I forgot whatever, it's the Liber. I had that. I printed it out, and then it was like, this isn't the same. It's not in the same order. So I was like, wait, what the fuck? I was like, I guess like naive, you got to worry about whose book you read. The OTO, the Golden Dawn, Martinists, maybe like in one or two other names. And the only thing near me that was even an option happened to be the OTO. And it was about 25 minutes away. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just go with the OTO. I'll go check it out. When I found them online, wherever I found them to contact them, I think they had kind of like a calendar. And I saw that they were having a Gnostic Mass. They tended to have one like every week on the weekends. And I think there was one like a few weeks away. And I was like, all right, I think I'll go to that one. They start up the Gnostic Mass. And that was a little bit different. I will say it was a little bit different than what was on YouTube. I didn't think, it never dawned on me that there might be nudity in it, and YouTube can't show nudity. So at some point, titties came out, and I was like, oh, what the fuck's going on? I don't remember this from YouTube.
Hello, everyone. It's Connie over on the YouTube channel Talk Spooky to Me. And currently, you are listening to Kevin from Where the Weird Ones Are. Enjoy.
What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to Where the Weird Ones Are. Yeah. Weird ones only, we talking that truth. Ghost in the attic, yeah, show me the proof. Aliens creeping, they light in the roof. Minds wide open, we shatter the booth. Conspiracies deep, we dig in the scars. Demons and angels and bodies on Mars. Cryptids be watching, they lurk in the dark. Mental on edge, but we glowing like stars. Welcome to the pod, no cap, it's a seance. Whispers in the static, spirits doing dance. Reptiles in suits, yeah, running the lands. MK Ultra made a puppet of your mans. When they go hunger, dogman strut, flat woods, eyes glow. Slice through the cut, Bigfoot tagging trees, marking the trail. Weird ones ride, no room for the frail. Talking about trauma, talking that soul. Peeling back layers, we dig in a hole. Sacred geometry, numbers align. Ancestors speak through the veil and the sign. Ayahuasca dreams, third eye lit. Shadow self lurking, we making it spit. No mainstream lies. This the dirt where the weird ones rise from the blood and the hurt. Weird ones only, we talking that truth. Ghosts in the attic, yeah, show me the proof. Aliens creeping, they light in the roof. Minds wide open, we shatter the booth. Conspiracies deep, we dig in the scars. Demons and angels and bodies on Mars. Cryptids be watching, they lurk in the dark. Mental on edge, but we glowing like stars. Voices in the woods got chills on the neck. Black-eyed kids at the door, now we check. CIA tapped in, fluoride drip. Project Bluebeam, watch that script. Talking about grief, talking about fear. Talking about why them voices appear. Healing the mind while breaking the chain. Spiritual warfare deep in the brain. We don't run from the strange, we live in the strange. Tattoo the truth and the scars and the pain. Stay weird, the mantra we own in the name. Reality bends, so we bend to the same. From the attic to the swamp, we tracking the freak. Where the veil get thin and the silence speak. We ain't your norm, we off that grid. Weird as the wave, yo, this where we live.
What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to another episode of Where the Weird Ones Are. My name is Kevin, but you probably already knew that, and if you didn't, now you do. Today's episode is with Nick. He is the host or the co-host, one of many, I guess, from his explanation, of the Occult Rejects. And he has some really interesting experiences with occultism. So he joined a secret society known as the Order of the Owl, which is pretty interesting. And his first experience was very odd. Um, but well, I mean, not odd, but I guess he wasn't expecting it so much. So he also has had outer body experiences. Um, he's experienced some magic and trying to meditate and open up his pineal gland, his third eye. So yeah, man, great conversation. I didn't talk that much. I mainly listened, and I do have a dumb face on quite a bit throughout this episode because that's my when my face looks dumb. Well, my face looks dumb all the time, but when it looks especially dumb, that is my listening face. Oh man, looking back on this episode, it was really interesting. I was like, what is going on with my face? You know, it was kind of weird. But anyways, Nick's a great dude. I definitely think you guys should check out his podcast, The Occult Rejects, on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts at. So, but quick shout out to the sponsor, Flavors of the Forest, raw garlic dust, Bigfoot's breath. It's amazing shit. I put it on everything. It's very potent, stronger than anything you're gonna get at the grocery store. I promise you that. And also the grocery shore. Um, so not only the store, but the shore. Uh, fucking. Anyways, so yeah, go check them out. Flavorsforest.com. That's where you can get that shit at. You can also follow them on Instagram at Flavors Forest. They're great dudes. I promise you that. You won't be disappointed if you try it. They have a couple other flavors, so go check it out. I put it on just about everything. Actually, I put it on everything. I shouldn't say just about because I don't think there's anything that I eat throughout the day that I don't put it on. I put it on my cereal. I put it on my bagels. I put it on my bacon. I put it on, you get the picture. I put it on everything. I even put it in my fucking yogurt. So, okay. Okay. Obviously, that's sarcasm. But anywho, moving on to my buddy Johnny Nitro with his company Wild Beauty Products. This shit is face, or well, not face. This is moisturizer. It's whipped tallow, and this one specifically in my hand is called orange frankincense. So it smells orangey, but there's frankincense in it also. Obviously, just by the name, you can tell that. And there's something funky going on with my hair right now, and I don't know what is happening. It's very weird. Gray bizarre. It's like my hair is starting to part down the middle for some reason. Anyways, uh yeah, so wildbeautyproducts.com, that's where you can get this shit. He has a bunch of other stuff like chapstick, lip balms, whatever, all that stuff. Um It's really good. I like how it doesn't make me feel greasy or like there's something on me stuck to me. It once I put it on, it's on and I'm back to feeling like normal skin. So again, that's wildbeautyproducts.com. Go check them out. Also on Amazon, my book, The Adventures of Rizzo and Weird Son Monster Hunters, is available. I hope you guys check it out. If you don't, you don't. You know, it's not the end of the world. But if you do, please leave a rating and review. I really need ratings and reviews on the book. It'll help me get to other readers and whatnot. So, with that being said, if you don't mind also leaving rating and review here, that would be great and very helpful. Um, as well as like, follow, sharing, and subscribing. Those are awesome ways to help me out. Um, free of charge. But I get it. I mean, you don't want to, you don't want to, you don't care to, you listen to the show and then that's it. Like you don't go any further. You don't read the fucking Jesus Christ. My fucking hair is fucking being so stupid. But it's all right. Look at that. Look at that. It's just like poof, sitting straight out. It's so weird. Um I'm sorry. I'm looking at myself on the camera and I just look old funky and it's bothering me because I see it. Look, it's like starting to separate. I don't know why it's doing that. It's really weird. Anyways, holy shit, I feel stupid now. That's all right. That is all right. All right, all right, all right. Moving on. Ratings and reviews really help the show out a lot. If your catcher doesn't allow it, you can just definitely put it on the website. You can also get a whole bunch of other stuff on the website if you are so inclined to do so. Also, Cryptid Fest coming up in Raynham, Massachusetts. I will be there. So if you're interested and you are in the area, ooh, it's a free event. So go check us out. I'll have some hot sauces. I'll have some t-shirts and shit. So and I believe I am on the encounters panel. Maybe it depends on how many people are on the panel. I guess I don't know. It is what it is. But it is put together by my good friend Jessica Carlozzi. She runs the YouTube channel Cryptid Bits with General Tidbits. Yeah. Cryptid Bit that's because I had her sticker on my mini fridge back here. Cryptid Bits with General Tidbits. She talks about cryptids and shit. She has ghost guests on. She might also have ghosts on. I don't know. It's possible. Um, but it's a good show. You should check her out. It's right on YouTube. So, other than that, I think that's all I really have to share with you guys today. Um, yeah. All right, Weird Java coming up on this Sunday, and it's on every other Sunday, but it's 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern. If you're not Eastern or Central, I'm pretty sure you could probably figure it out if you feel so inclined to check us out live. The audio does go onto a podcast platform, which is on all platforms. I have a Spreaker for it, so if you're interested in listening to it, which I highly recommend watching it. I mean, you can always catch it after the live too, not a total big deal, but if you're on live, you can, comment and play along with us when we do the games and shit. So, mhm. Also, check out David Don't Know podcast. It is actually coming out tomorrow. So if you're listening to this on the day that this comes out, which is a Wednesday, it'll be the next day. So check out David Don't Know. I produce it, I put it together, but other than that, I have nothing to do with it, David is the host and he gets the guests and he talks to them and he does a phenomenal job. Um, he's a natural born podcaster. He's also a natural born partier. I mean, come on now. All right. Let's get into this conversation with Nick. It was a lot of fun recording. I hope we get to do it again soon. The conversation was amazing. Well, actually, I shouldn't say conversation. Listening to Nick talk was great. Let's get in. Where the Weird Ones Go Productions. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode. So happy to have you here. I have a fantastic guest. Kind of met him through mutual friends. His name's Nick. He's from the Occult Rejects. Nick, how's it going, man?
Very good, very good. Thank you for having me on, and sorry about the issue with the original. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Things happen when they're supposed to happen, I feel like. So, when you're more prepared for certain things or something maybe happens in between the time of that needed to happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you probably got me a calmer moment at 9 o'clock in the morning, so it might be better.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh man, so if you don't mind, let the listeners know who you are, a little bit about yourself and where they can find you and all that stuff.
Yes, the Occult Rejects podcast. It's on BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, and all major podcasts. Right now, like if you were to go check it out now, it's basically like a conglomerate of a bunch of people. Not everybody has their own podcast. Some of them are authors. Some of them like have their own outlets or blogs, but some of them are podcasters as well. But it's probably like a group of like, I don't know, by now, like close to 15 people, but not everybody comes on. It kind of, we use for different topics and different things, but it has kind of become like its own egregore in a sense. So that's just you will see other people just besides the original core group of the Occult Rejects. You'll see other shows joining us. We cover topics on occultism, paranormal, true crime, if it happens to touch on occultism. Also, like a lot of like megaliths, so like even like science, because I do think certain things that we cover in science, I think, is almost kind of like showing you magic. So we do cover a lot of that type of stuff as well.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask you what got you interested in starting the show.
I have to take it back a long time ago, prior to like 2010.
Wow.
Oh well, no, I'm just gonna say that I wasn't podcasting.
Right.
Around like, I don't know, 2009, 2010, I started to get into like conspiracies. As soon as I got into the stuff, it was like a lot of Jordan Maxwell, Passio, Tessarian, David Icke, Project Camelot. A lot of them sometimes would focus on occultism. A lot of them. Some of those focused on it a lot. And so that interested me. And I guess, I guess all of us, the podcasters, most of us that are into this shit, I'm assuming like as we listen to the other people that we came across before we started podcasting, like you kind of start like looking down, you start researching some of the stuff they talk about. And I started getting heavily into just like kind of looking into the occultism, the secret societies. As a few years goes by and like, just one day it just hits me. I'm like, I've been like looking at all this stuff, like studying these orders, these names, who supposedly started this, where the fuck it was, this and that. And I still don't know what the hell magic is. I was like, what the fuck? I really still don't understand it. I don't get it. I just know all these names in these places and these horrible people. So I was like, maybe I should start getting into it myself, or like start reading up on it, like more like actual stuff that occultists would read. And I started to get into a few like magic books and started reading them, and even I started seeing contradictions between people's stuff. Like, if I remember correctly, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I think it was Donald Michael Craig. He had like 12 or 13 lessons in high magic, and he had the Liber Resh in there, which is Resh is it's a prayer that Aleister Crowley wrote, and I had that his writing. I think it's just a few pages. I forgot whatever. It's the Liber Resh. I had that. I printed it out, and then it was like, this isn't the same. It's not in the same order. So I was like, well, what the fuck? I was like, I guess like naive. You got to worry about whose book you read. And I was like, maybe I should just like see if there's places near me. I was in New York, so I was like, I'm sure there's probably something out here that I could like start going to. And I knew from kind of getting into the magic community or the occult community, reading books or joining like Facebook groups or just, watching YouTube videos. There was some people that I had, started to become friends with. And I was told by somebody I knew that was a Freemason, they were like, if you don't even bother for occultism or magic, because it'll probably take you forever to get there. They said, look into like the OTO, the Golden Dawn, Martinists, maybe like in one or two other names. And the only thing near me that was even an option happened to be the OTO. And it was about 25 minutes away. I know I had mentioned before I had Resh, and I did have some of Crowley's stuff. Just before we go forward, I don't put that guy up on a pedestal. I'm pretty sure he did some fucking twisted, weird shit. But I think when it comes to occultism, he was a genius. And I also do think he understood science and the eyeball and the brain. And I think that, believe it or not, I think it's deeply encoded in his work. But so I just want to say, I honestly would have rather have gone to probably the Golden Dawn. That's what I was hoping. Something like that was a little bit more academic, school. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just go with the OTO. I'll go check it out. When I found them online, wherever I found them to contact them, I think they had kind of like a calendar and stuff of like things that were coming up. So you can see like if you want to go or not, or I guess even for the members to check out. And I saw that they were having a Gnostic Mass. They tended to have one like every week on the weekends. And I think there was one like a few weeks away. And I was like, all right, I think I'll go to that one. And I emailed them because they had a contact and told them I wanted to come for the Gnostic Mass then. And they were like, oh, just email us that day or the day before and let us know. It's like, it's already ahead in the future. Just let us know that. I was like, all right, sure. And I'm thinking like, all right, let me see if I can find anything about this Gnostic Mass. And I was like, oh, there's a video on YouTube. I was like, not bad. it was a little weird. It was a little different, but I was like, I can handle this for sure. You know, not a problem. So then, like, the day comes, and I send them the email, and then they send you directions and everything coming from multiple areas. And I'm like reading him. It gets weird at first, but then when I explain it, you'll be like, all right. But like it tells you at first, it's like it gives you the address and how to get there, and then it's like, you know, there's a park across the street. So go like stand over by the benches that are over near the park, and there should be people over there, and somebody will come out and get you. And I was like, yo, what the fuck is this? I was like, this sounds sketchy as shit.
Yeah.
I was like, stand out the fucking like. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go there. It's 20 minutes, 25 minutes away, so I'm like, fuck it, let me just go see what's up. And I get over in that area, and that you do see like a bunch of people kind of would look like they're hanging out by the park outside the gate next to the bench. And I was like, they all look goth or emo, so I'm assuming that's for the fucking OTO. So I was like, all right, there'll be other people there. You know, I won't get kidnapped by myself. There's probably a chance. You know, I got a shot. I might get away. So I walk over there, you know, waiting with the other people. And then this is when I clicked and I realized what the problem was. The after the fact, I realized this is an apartment in the basement of an apartment building that they rented out, that they turned into a temple. It's also technically like a gated building. You can't get in that apartment building unless you have the key to get in the fucking door. So they have to come out and open up the gate to let you in. So like once I realized what was going on there, I was like, okay, this just is weird, but it's not weird. It's just the situation of the building.
Mm-hmm.
But I went in and, you know, eventually they start up the Gnostic Mass. And that was a little bit different. I will say it was a little bit different than what was on YouTube. I didn't think, it never dawned on me that there might be nudity in it, and YouTube can't show nudity. So at some point, titties came out, and I was like, oh, what the fuck's going on? I don't remember this from YouTube.
Shit.
You know, like I'm standing there, like if you're to like see how the Gnostic Mass is, it's just like two rows of people, and then like there's like, you know, the people that are doing it, and I'm just like standing there, and it's like I'm just like looking at the people next in front of me, and I'm like looking to the side, and I'm like, yo, is this like eyes wide shut? Is this gonna turn? And I'm like looking around, I'm like, yo, if this gets any fucking weirder, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I was like, I'm just gonna walk out, fuck it. And I'm like, there's no look like anybody's gonna try to stop me anyway. So no, they didn't get weirder. But I stayed. Obviously, I stayed for about another 5 or 6 years after that. I will say though, the next thing I went to after that was not actually a Gnostic Mass. I think it was like a candle fucking a class on spell candle making.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So I mean that was my first experience. I went to a Gnostic Mass. I ended up like I did find it interesting. Again, the nudity or the titties just still like threw me off, and it was just. I don't know. It's just like when you start getting into shit like that, you're like, you got to draw a fine line somewhere, I think. I don't know. It was just like, you know, you're talking about magic and secret societies, and now you got tits out. Like, It's going towards the, you know, the way people already look at it as fucking weird and perverted. I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, first shit, but the first day there. But there was a lot of stuff I had noticed on that calendar. And, you know, classes that they offered, stuff on history, stuff on people, stuff on like talismans, against, you know, candle magic. So I was like, all right, there's things here that I could probably keep coming to. And you didn't have to be a member. Unless it's a cold meeting, that's another thing too. You could just go off the streets. And if at the time it was like a $5 donation, you throw $5 in that fucking cup, they don't give a fuck who the fuck you are. You know, go sure, come on in. You know, as long as you don't go crazy and kill anybody. You know, they're trying to make money themselves. So, you know, like, I didn't have to become a member. I mean, I eventually did, obviously. But at that time, I was like, all right, I could come here. And it's like, I really don't have to get involved to become a member. And there's plenty of things that I could probably just get, you know, learn from. But the main thing for me really was actually being around people that practice, because I didn't know anybody personally, like physically in my own life. I knew people from online. So I was like, all right, at least I can come here and like, not everybody was completely weird. I was like, I could probably like get ideas, learn, bounce things off of people, see what works for them, see their experiences. So, you know, like I said, I ended up staying for a few degrees. I did a few initiations eventually. I was there for about 6 years. What eventually made me leave, well, COVID came and they closed. They crumbled to the CDC. And I was like, that's fucking weird, because like, you know, Jesus has got his doors open. What are you saying? Like Jesus has got more balls than Horus. You guys go on and on about Horus the mighty warrior, and this motherfucker's too scared to got his doors open for this shit. Come on. Oh, if you're such magicians and witches, why don't you just like put some banishing fucking COVID spell on yourself? Like, come on, man. Like, just fucking stupid.
Absolutely.
And then they started going on. Like, this is so fucking funny because they use like 93. It's like a numerical value for like certain things. It's used a lot. Like that's even how people will say hi.
Yeah, Crowley uses 93 quite a bit.
Yes, and they even sent out an email saying that like 93% of the lodge isn't comfortable going there unless they're fucking vaccinated. I'm like, that's a fake fucking number. Because first off, you didn't ask me, you didn't ask Jason, you didn't ask Michael, you didn't ask fucking Jordan. So I don't know how 93 fucking percent. You just said 93, so these fucking clowns and these cult-minded motherfuckers think it's cute and go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, now you're fucking suggesting vaccinations. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not going.
Yep.
And they started doing Zoom meetings, and I was like, you know what? And at this point, I probably wasn't even going to that lodge for about 6 months because I was just I wasn't comfortable anymore. I had we'll get into it if we have time or if you want to. I had my own magical experiences to where I was like, I don't think that place emulates where the fuck I'm going or the experiences I had. It seems to emulate more of the vices and the handcuffs that you need to get rid of to have a magical experience. So I really wasn't going that much anymore. But then like they started doing these Zoom meetings. I was like, you know what? It's COVID. Nothing's open. Nothing the fuck to do anyway. I'll jump on and listen to these things regardless. And I did that for like maybe a few weeks. And then like all of a sudden that George Floyd shit happened. Yo, and they send out a fucking email asking if we want to like have like some group meeting thing about George Floyd. And I'm like, looking at this shit. I'm like, yo, this has nothing to do with the OTO or magic. And they are like very much like, you know, if anybody knows how Alcoholics Anonymous works, I'm sure Narcotics Anonymous is the same shit. We're not here to talk about anything except for alcohol. We're not here to talk about politics, religion. You know, we're alcohol and getting sober. All that other shit we can't really have an opinion on. You're supposed to be the same way. So why the fuck are we talking about George Floyd? Because like, if you want to start getting all thalamic and do it that will, like that motherfucker, whatever happened to him, I hate to say it didn't change my life or affect me at all. So why the fuck are we having a meeting over this? And I was like, let me go to this shit for shits and giggles. I gotta listen to this fucking silly shit. And it turned into like some kumbaya fucking group therapy session about like people experiencing racism. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I was like, the funniest thing in here is that there's only one motherfucking black dude in this lodge to begin with. So like, where are we even going with this? Like maybe we should acknowledge that. You know, it was just fucking silly. I was like, where the fuck? One black dude in this whole fucking, the whole meeting, the whole Zoom. I'm like, this is fucking fun. It was just weird as shit to me. And I was like, yo, why? And then all of a sudden they're like wanting to like push the idea of like, oh, does anybody want to like go and protest? Maybe we can start, you know.
We're not going to have meetings because of COVID, but we're all going to get together on the streets.
I wanted to say that, but I was like, you know, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut because I was going to be like, yo, so the lodge is fucking closed. But you guys want to go out and stand out in the streets and around? What the fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, no, I was like, never again. And I stopped listening to, you know, the emails, everything. I was done. And because of that, I was just like, between that and having my own magical experience, I was already kind of like almost out of like, kind of getting out of that lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, let me go back to what I like used to be interested in. I was like, I'll go back to conspiracies, this and that. And started going back to the stuff that I was into before I got heavily into that. And I don't know if it was just like me starting to pay attention to the world around me instead of like, you know, magic and rituals and reading books and going to the OTO. I was just like, yo, the occult symbolism and magic is like fucking like rampantly blatant. I was like, was it always like this or did I just not notice? Like, did it get bad in the last few years? I was just like, it's fucking unreal, especially politics. I thought even both sides, Democrats and the Republicans, when Trump was going against Biden, I was like, yo, the symbolism from both of them, the shit they're saying, the numbers they're using, I'm like, yo, this is fucking insane. So I was like, yo, I just started a podcast because of like my experiences with the OTO and how I saw like, you know, occult symbolism being basically just fucking all over the place.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, it started off with me like talking into a microphone and recording myself on the computer. I wasn't even using a camera and just releasing it out on Spreaker and BitChute. You know, sitting in my kitchen to now it's, you know, something completely different. But it started off basically with me. Like I was telling you prior to the show, like how they get you when you want to talk about like initiation shit or like certain stuff you're not supposed to repeat. It's because those books get copyrighted. And like when I first started coming out, I covered the degrees, they took them down. But like when I originally came out, I was like trying to, I guess I was very mad at the OTO because I even feel like not that they lie to you, but when it comes to magic, they really don't tell you what the fuck it's about. So I think like if you have a magical experience, it might like rock your fucking core or even drive you mad because you're like, wait, this is magic? Like dying is a part of magic? Like why the fuck didn't you tell me that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what I thought it was. Like, I don't know. It's just hard to explain. Like, you should really tell people, like, what the fuck, like, is actually going to happen if you have this experience. And I was just kind of like, I guess, butthurt over that shit. And I was kind of very against the OTO. I mean, again, I don't agree with them now anyway. So I did a lot of stuff trying to, like, I guess, shit on them and cover occult symbolism. And then eventually, like, I started working with somebody, Lux at the time. I probably had him. He was the co-host for the Occult Rejects for, like, the first year and a half. And we like would cover secret societies and occult symbolism, tarot and stuff. But that's basically how like it came to be because of my experience in the OTO, realizing I didn't want to be there anymore, having a magical experience. I just was just like, yo, this shit is fucking all over the world, and it's like fucking controlling everybody.
Yeah.
I was like, I should probably, maybe I could start a podcast about it. It was around the same time too that I, like, you know how like there was probably a fuck ton of shows that all came out within like the same 6 months.
Oh yeah.
Everybody just had the same idea. I was around in that time too.
Yeah. It's because I started in the spring of 21, and like pretty much everybody that I know started around that time too. Right after COVID, or a lot of people started during COVID. But my podcast kind of like came about in the same way. I didn't become a member of any group, but I just was like, I was into conspiracy since 9/11. I was like, I was 12, 13 when 9/11 happened, and I was watching it on TV in my living room when I got home from school, and I remember seeing some things that I was just like, this doesn't seem right. Like why? And then the building falling straight down when the top of it should have just fallen over. You know what I mean? So right then and there, I was like, that's weird, but I didn't think too much of it. But the more I didn't listen to podcasts I thought podcasts were stupid. I was like, who the fuck wants to sit there and listen to two people or a group of people or even one person just like have conversations and talk about certain things? I was like, that sounds silly. And then in 2020, when nothing was happening and the radio was fucking played out, and I had the same playlist for like 2 years, I was like, all right, let's get into some podcasts, I guess. Let's see what this is all about. And I started listening to podcasts, and I started listening to a lot of conspiracy stuff. And then I found through the conspiracy podcasts, I found some paranormal podcasts. And I had paranormal experiences growing up, and I still had I had a couple as an adult too, some scary ones. And so I was like, you know what? I want to talk to people about, conspiracies and ghosts and fucking Bigfoot and shit like that. I was like, so let's just do that. I was like, I'm not looking to frickin'. And one of my friends was like, what do you think you're gonna be, Joe Rogan? And I was like, I'm fucking not even trying for that. Like I'm not looking for fame. I just want to talk to people like that. I just want to talk to people about their experiences with all this shit. That's all I want. That's because I can't start a conversation with Joe Schmo and them fucking stare at me like I'm fucking retarded, you know?
I guarantee you those people aren't purely happy.
But no, I agree. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny too because I get more support from people I don't know. So it's
Well, I think another thing too with the Occult Rejects, to be totally honest with you, probably 2/3 of the people on there were fans.
Nice.
That have been brought onto the show, and they even started their own podcast, or they even started their own podcast. I mean, I had 2 or 3 people tell me they started their podcast because of the show or because of me. And then I started bringing them on, and they just became part of the show as well. So
nice, man.
Yeah, it is pretty wild how actually, most of that show is actually people. There a good chunk of it was people that were just listeners. And I was like, yo, let's stop making shit happen.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Good for you. That's cool. So I don't really know a whole lot about the OTO. I've heard it. a few times, and once so I like owls, so I have one fucking right here on my fucking throat. So once I started hearing about it, I was like, it was like literally right after I got this tattoo that I started hearing more and more about it, and I was like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have done this, but oh well.
He's controlled up. He's got an owl on his neck. He must go to Bohemian Grove.
Right.
The Mormon, he's amazing. Oh my god.
And then I found out that the Batman symbol is like a Masonic kind of thing, and I was like, fucking A. So now I got a fucking tattoo that people are gonna be like, oh, he's controlled opposition, blah 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 blah. He's got an owl on his throat and a fucking Batman tattoo on his arm. Like, fucking how Masonic and fucking occultic can you get? The symbolism.
All my tattoos are blatantly occult. I can't even hide them. They are occult.
Yeah. So you go to this first meeting, and then you end up becoming a member, dude.
Years later, I left. Yeah.
So, freaking, it's interesting how all of this shit goes back to like sexual shit, like you said, like titties started coming out in the first time you were there, and
You know what's funny is that when someone did, like, I was gonna ask to join anyway, eventually,
yeah,
because of other stuff. But it was funny how, like, when somebody mentioned it, I realized it after the fact. I was like, it's funny how it was the priestess
well,
that I saw the first time at my OTO meeting. I saw her titties. And I just found it weird. The first chick that I saw her tits, so now the one asking me, "Oh, you're gonna join?" And telling me, you take the paperwork, I'll sign it for you. And I'm like, "Fuck."
she's like, do you want to see my tits some more?
Yeah, you want to see them? I don't want to even sound like a pig, but I was like, she is like the only one here that's kind of even worth looking at.
Oh shit. Of course.
Well, at least then she was. No, I mean, not that I think I'm God's gift to the world. It was actually just weird, and that was always a weird and uncomfortable situation. To the point that when you're there for a while, especially if you start taking degrees, they might expect you, like, would you like to get involved? Would you like to do something? Could you maybe do something in the mass, or could you do a class? They'll start asking you, and like I'm normally not. I don't want to start being asked to do things. So I'm like, you know what? I know it's going to eventually come. I'll just find something to do myself. And they started having like issues with, like, not people may not always show up, or they can't always get everybody to do a mass, so they may not be able to do it. And a child, they call a child, there's two of them that are in the mass. You're basically, one person is representing, you're basically representing the pillars of the tree, and one of them will hold salt and water, and the other one will hold an incense burner and incense. And you follow the priest and the priestess around throughout the mass. They had like a lot of openings for that, and at that time they were like, basically, like, as long as you can learn what you have to do, you can start doing it. At some point, you had to get baptized and confirmed in order to be able to do it. But at first, that's how it was, and I was like, oh yeah. I think somebody was like, would you ever be interested in doing it? I think because, like, they were kind of short-handed. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll actually do that, because, like, now I'll start getting involved, and they won't ask me to do anything. And one of the reasons why, this sounds cheesy, long drawn ass story to tell you this, is that when you're the child, by the time the chick is going to take off her shit and take out her tits, my back is to her, and I'm looking at everybody else. So I was like, now I can actually avoid the whole fucking awkward situation, and I'll just sit there with my incense and burner, my water and salt, and she's got her tits out, and I don't have to look at anything. It sounds like fucking cheesy vanilla approved, but I was just like, it was just fucking weird, because it's just like, yo, like, now I'm hanging out with you after the fact. You have your clothes on, or like next week I'm going to be like talking to you, and like one day you're just going to be up there again with your tits hanging out. It was just like fucking weird.
Yeah, it is
like,
strange.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't want to look at him either. I mean, I want to look at me. I get it.
One time's enough.
Yeah, that was enough.
So if you don't mind, I'd love to hear this the magical experience you had.
Oh yeah. I do believe I have crossed the abyss. I mean, that is something I claim.
Yeah.
Show. I do think that is, like, for a magician, if they're, I hate going into black and white magic, but if you're actually trying to do something to better yourself, I think that's what magic is going to be crossing the abyss, and having an experience with the source, or God, or whatever people want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I call it God, or the source. That's what the magician technically That's what a magician's supposed to be doing. Well, their whole means is supposed to have, have union with God. I do believe I had that experience across the abyss. And it pretty much like changed my life and even changed the way I look at even magic anymore. And the crazy thing is, I mean, I can go into it too, I will, but when I had these like serious magical experiences, I had one that I think was like getting kind of close there, that I actually did a ritual, like I was doing ritual work, and it wasn't even anything crazy. I was basically like, people may not understand when I say this now, because if they don't practice magic, they're probably like, I don't know what the fuck you just said, but I always use the Kabbalistic tree of life for the most part when I do my rituals. And I was working with Netzach or Venus, or it was kind of more of like a Hathor idea. But a lot of times I was also using whatever, like the idea of God in that sphere. So a lot of times, like near the end, as I was doing rituals, a lot of my work was actually to God and not actually specific deities anymore. It was almost like prayers and theurgy. I had kind of a little bit of an interesting experience, and then I stopped because I thought it was like a little weird. And then eventually I was like, you know what, I'll go back into meditating. And now, when I get to my magical experiences, this literally was just for meditating. No rituals were done or anything. And that was like, it blew me away, because I was like, yo, I didn't even do a ritual. This shit was more intense than like anything I've ever experienced. But, and another thing I do want to say before I forget, and I'm going to get into it though, but like, the whole death and rebirth, I do believe in a sense, and I know it sounds crazy, it sounds like a little scary. I'm not saying it to get like, edgy points or whatever, but, I do believe that death is actually a part of magic. Talk about the death and the rebirth, I think it's a little bit more literal than people would like to actually think. I mean, I remember even as a child, I would hear stuff about like monks or these people that supposedly would be able to go into these meditations and it would seem as if they're dead. That shit's real. Not that I have done it, but like if you were to see the movie Flatliners, that's just a cheat code. That's just like, instead of going into the meditation and spending all this time, I'll just put myself out and bring myself back. You're releasing the soul from the flesh, and you're having an experience in the other world. That's what I actually think is happening. So like I eventually, like when I had my experience, a lot of times with meditating, I had like certain basics that I would do. I normally would sit in a chair. It had a flat back. I made sure that the back was completely flat, and I put my hands on my legs and just keep them straight. It's called the God pose. It's like the easiest way to meditate besides like laying on your bed on your back. I was going to do something a little bit different than just laying on the bed. I'll do this. And I got kind of used to it. And so I would meditate there. And a lot of times, like I always had like the same routines that I would go through just to kind of like get my senses going or balanced, whatever, before I would do a ritual. But I wasn't going to do the ritual. I was just going to go through my meditations. And so I would like sometimes like sit there, and people who practice, or even witches, would probably even do this a lot for meditation. You kind of picture like a white light coming down into you and then like moving through your body and then flowing into the ground or back and forth, just stuff like that, or like just like stuff coming in and trying to like keep your eyes closed and actually envision like a form of your body filling up with white light and then going into the ground. I would do that for a while and, move it up and down. And, I've said before, and I've heard other people say it too, that I do believe that when you start getting really good at that, from my experience, you could even feel like the heat or something as you're visualizing the light moving throughout your body. That's going to sound crazy, but especially in my legs, if I ever visualized it, like I could almost like literally, like as I'm picturing the light going through my legs, I can almost feel like a burning sensation going down my legs.
Wow.
Yeah, and I do think that, so you start to actually get some, like, the mind can make the body believe things that isn't real.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
I do think that you're almost starting to get to that, to there. I mean, your mind, I mean, and I'm going to even say this is how I think a lot of conspiracy theories that are bullshit actually take off. I hate to say it.
Mhm.
Your mind will, if it's afraid of something and doesn't understand something, it will fucking lie to you and make sense of it just so you can preserve your ego and not flip the fuck out.
Mhm.
So, we're just saying how strong the brain is. So like I would do that, and then like once I felt like that was good, then I would start going into my chakras, and I would start like visualizing and aligning my chakras. I would start trying to focus on them. For me, and you'll hear other people that are into that stuff for a while, it sounds crazy. I always thought it was bullshit too when I first started getting into it, but I will shit you not, you can feel those motherfuckers. They feel like little spinning Tasmanian devils. It's like a little ball of like. So I would try to focus on them and like kind of, I don't know, just like put pressure on them or focus on them for a while and just go up and down a little bit. And then there'd be times that I think I got this out of a book called The Wheels of Time or something like that, by Anadia Judith or something. A lady that was big into chakras, and I think she might be like into Thelema. So I had her book, and she would talk about pulling like the top one and the bottom one, like trying to visualize that to straighten it out, this and that. So I would do stuff like that. And then sometimes, like after all that, like I would just try to go into a meditation, either just like let my mind kind of like empty out. Like, and another thing I want to say for people when they're like, "Oh, meditating, that sounds like a fucking boring and sucks." Don't even think about not thinking about anything. That's not going to happen. You try to cut out the 100. Leave yourself with 10 voices instead of 100. That's actually like that's progress in meditation. For me, meditation normally would actually try to focus on one idea and hold on to it and keep going with it. Believe it or not, a lot of times for like magicians or occultists, like it's not clearing the mind. It's like you're using meditation to try to get lost in an idea or a thought, to figure something out, gain knowledge from it, or to get like lost in the image that you're viewing with your eyes closed. That's my opinion. So like I'm not trying to go completely, blank in the mind. And at this point, I had remembered, because of the prior experience I had, that I said got like a little weird. Just to sum that up real quick, it was like all of a sudden, like I had my eyes closed and I got like a flash of white, and it felt like I like stepped into like an HD TV, and it just looked like I was like standing in a pyramid. And I was starting to think about where am I or who am I, and then all of a sudden it's like I snapped out of it. But it was like really weird, and it was like so like high definition and grainy, and the colors were almost like thermal cam. It was fucking bizarre, dude.
Damn.
It was, yeah, but it was just like, yo, like it was so fucking real. And I didn't have my body. It was just like I was hovering in the scene. So like, that kind of weirded me out. I was like, all right, maybe I'll calm down with the rituals. Maybe I'm going to be totally honest. I'm like, maybe I'm doing something. I don't know what the fuck I'm getting into. I was like, I don't know. How the fuck do I even know that these rituals are okay that I'm even doing? All this shit's going through my head. So I was like, I'll just stick to basics and just meditate. That should be, safe. You would think.
Yeah, you would think.
No, but prior to that, one thing that I remembered, and I mean, it's my own fucking fault too, because I was like, before that experience happened, I would sometimes, like, if I'll do all that meditating, then I'll do my ritual. And then sometimes in the middle of the ritual, when I want to do whatever I want to do or ask God, whatever I want to ask God for, to pray or whatever, I'll go through like more meditation again. And sometimes I'll play with my chakras. And this time I was pushing on the pineal one kind of hard, just like holding it. I know it sounds crazy, because pushing on this pineal, fucking whatever. I'm kind of like holding it. You can feel it. And for me, it's like I will put my eyes up, like almost cross-eyed towards my pineal gland. It's like as I'm feeling that, as I'm doing that, you can really feel it for me. So I was kind of like focusing and pressing on it. And I had realized before that explosion of white, when I was doing that, it seemed like, and if people meditate, maybe they'll get this idea, they'll understand what I'm saying. When you close your eyes for a while, I don't know if it's maybe because you do start getting lost in your head and not so much in the outer world. You don't see as like, it will be dark, but I feel like 10 minutes into a meditation, it'll be even darker with your eyes closed. That makes sense to anybody. When I was pushing on the pineal gland, the dark would look like even darker. It's like almost like it was if like black oil was like spilling out on a dusty black floor, to where it's like the black didn't even look like it was that dark anymore. It's like something else is even like fucking pouring out, just fucking black as shit. So I remember that, and I was like, let me see what that was about. So I started pushing on my pineal gland while I was meditating. And I started noticing like this little white, piercing white dot. It like just starts showing up, like literally, like if you had like I guess like a needle, and the tip of it was like burning fucking white as shit. Literally just like out in the distance. And it's crazy saying out in the distance. This is another thing too with this experience. Once I start getting into it, it is as if like, even though you're in your head, I swear to God, it's like you're seeing a distance. It is fucking insane. Like there's depth. Well, before the white light came, all this black, like I said, was spreading out, and it started to look like almost like an oil slick, where it would have like these very like fluorescent rainbow colors kind of like around it. Kind of like if you're driving through the street and you see like an oil slick like in water, and you kind of see all like the rainbow in there. started to seem like that spreading out, and then it got dark as fuck, and then you see that white light, and I kind of like had to like focus on it. As crazy as it sounds, it's like where I was visioning it in my eyes with my eyes closed. It's like I almost kind of had to have like my pineal gland like focusing on it, and almost have like my head focused where I would see it. I know it's hard to explain. It was almost like I had to lock onto it, and it's like all of a sudden you get it and you hold it, and it starts to like come a little bit closer. And then this white dot, I mean, it looks like a blazing fucking star. And I've questioned if that's where they even got the name for one of the OTO lodges, the blazing star, the OTO. It looks like this burning star, and it starts coming a little bit closer. And then like a little bit of like black from around it. Looks like it like kind of like comes in, it swirls in, and it makes it look like an eclipse. And then that's why I have like eclipse in all my logos. And then it starts to get like a little bit closer, and all of a sudden it's just like complete darkness, and I just see this fucking eclipse hovering in front of me, and I'm like holding my pineal gland the whole time too. And then all of a sudden, when I even saw the white dot, this is so hard to explain, and sometimes I leave it out, but like unfortunately, like he explains maybe detail a little bit more. It looks like as if like somebody took like a pencil and drew like the outline of clouds, and then like took that and threw it into like blackness. So like if anything lit up, you'd see like the curvatures. It's hard to explain. So like you see that kind of like around,
like a silhouette kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's what starts to even make it look like it has depth as well.
Okay.
It's almost like you can see that there's something in between, everything.
Yeah.
And it's like this little burning dot, and it looks like all these other things. So now eventually when it turns into an eclipse, at some point, I don't know what it is, but it's like you start seeing this, like these colors flash around it. It almost looks like flames, like, and then it starts to just turn to basically dark, like dark red or red. Now, because of me talking about all those like curves and shit, when you see those explosions in red, it literally almost starts to look like roses blooming. Again, because I'm saying all those little curvatures that you would see like in the clouds, those are kind of almost making the leaves now. It's hard to explain, but like it almost looks like literally roses blooming around like an eclipse. That's why I have in one of my logos, it's roses around an eclipse. I've even wondered, is that Crowley used the word rose a lot. He's, he had a girl, but in his other work, he focused on the rose. And you have the Rosicrucians. I do wonder if this is like a common image that might be seen with people for crossing the abyss. But you start seeing those things come out, the explosions, and I'm just like sitting there looking at it, and I'm not thinking anything. I'll be totally honest with you. I'm like sitting here. I'm like, yo, this is like a cool fucking like free movie I'm watching right now. Like I'm just like assuming that my mind is just like just playing around. I guess I don't know. I'm not really taking it too like serious. I just think it's like it's fucking cool looking. It's weird. Let's keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So like now all of a sudden like geometric shapes start like showing up. Oh, before wait, what happened first? I don't know if it's the shapes. I might be getting it screwed up in which things come first. I don't know. After the explosions, and all of a sudden these lines start coming out to where it looks like as if the eclipse was spinning, and these swirls are coming out and making like a spiral. And it's like all these spirals, and it's like vibrant colors.
Wow.
And when it first starts to spin, I'm going to be totally honest with you, it looks like a swastika until it starts really picking up and starts to come out like this. You have things coming out from the full cardinal direction starting to spin.
Yeah. I mean that symbol was a symbol of peace before the Nazis got a hold of it. So
I'm going to be totally honest with you. That is one of the things I even say that I think was one of the biggest things that guy pulled off, is that I think he took an image or took a symbol that is an image of having an experience with God and fucking perverted it and fucking hijacked it. Use it, you can't. Because it's fucked up. But all right, so I start to see that it looks like almost like vibrating, like I don't know, just stuff coming out. It almost looks like it's pulsing out, and then that starts to turn into like geometric shapes. It almost looks like tons of hexagrams and just like sacred geometry, just like even flashing towards me, like out of the eclipse from the side. And I was just like, "Yo, this is fucking crazy." And that stops, and it kind of gets like, and at this point, like it even feels like I'm deaf. Like I don't even hear anything anymore. It is just like, but yeah, it's just complete silence. And now all of a sudden, and I've explained this a few ways. Hopefully it works. It starts to look like, if people like look at my logo, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It looks like two films of reel coming out the side.
Mm-hmm.
If you take away the everything and just have those squares of images, it starts to look like almost sideways doorways or whatever. These rectangle windows floating starts coming out of the eclipse on each side, but going really slow. And I've said, like, if you were in a train station or a subway station and you're in the middle of the platform and say two trains were coming down your way, going the same way but going slow, and all you saw was the cart windows, that's exactly, it would just be like all these different images and scenes. And then around that time is when I'll start to feeling physical shit. Now there'll start being physical stuff that comes along with it. It'll almost start to feel like a fluttering in my body. It'll start down by my feet. Like, it's gonna sound crazy. I don't know if you ever seen like the movie Tron, where the guys starts getting they start zapping them and sucking them into the computer. It's like if they started at my feet and started going up, and it's like I'll start feeling this feeling start at my feet, and by the time it gets up to my knees, anything below my feet I don't feel anymore. I mean, anything below my knees I don't feel anymore. It feels like it's not even there. Like I'm just actually non-existent there anymore, and it starts to spread and start to go up. And it literally starts to feel like you're actually disappearing. You don't feel it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But all the energy in your body starts to feel like it's starting to compress, come up here. So now I'm seeing all this stuff, and I'm starting to feel this feeling. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is this? And again, I don't know why. It just didn't freak me out, because I guess maybe I wasn't too worried about anything serious. So I'm going on, I'm feeling that. And then, the windows start going. And there was one time when I paid attention to the window, and I could get into that. But basically, I saw things in there, but I really wasn't too oh, what the fuck is that? I'm just thinking oh, I'm just so what's gonna come next? I just really was just thinking it was just a free weird movie my mind was making up. And then, they go away, and then I start feeling that energy going through my body, and all of a sudden it feels like, and I've explained this before, it's maybe if I was laying on the beach and somehow it sounds crazy, I cut the soles off of my feet and let the water, when the water broke and came up the beach, it would roll right through you, go through your body, fill you up, and go right out of you. It literally felt like I was feeling a stream of water starting to flutter through me. And then all of a sudden it comes up up to my head, and then right back here where the Jews put their hat. It felt like all of a sudden it was just something was literally spraying or leaking out of my fucking head. And as that's happening, there's the eclipse, is the black part is starting to separate from the white. And now it just looks like this crescent. I got this big, I have this black sphere with this white one behind it, and it moved up a little bit. And I have this big, crescent, or fucking Cheshire cat fucking smile staring at me. And it's getting really fucking bright, and it starts to move again and go away. And as soon as the black sphere pulls away from the white one, it's all of a sudden, when I was pushing on my pineal gland the whole time, it felt like something just changed and somehow changed polarity, and all of a sudden all that pressure came back at me. That white light came flying towards me with my eyes closed. And boom, all of a sudden it felt like I just fucking shot out of the back of my head. It felt like I just turned into 1,000 butterflies. And my whole vision just felt like everything was just starting to, I was getting pulled. And whatever I'm witnessing, my body isn't there. And it's I'm just actually, it's going to sound crazy. I'm part of the fabric of what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And all I feel, it's going to sound crazy, but I really mean it. It was a love that I could never experience here on earth, or I haven't yet. It was a feeling that I could never get from drugs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a feeling I could never get from sex. It's a feeling I could never get from loving somebody, or a wife, a friend, my family, brother, whatever like that. It was totally beyond that by 1,000, and it just literally felt like my body, or my whatever I was just vibrating that feeling. And it's just I'm just witnessing. It's gonna sound crazy, but a lot of the stuff that I saw, I would be it looks like shit NASA would show. It was just blackness and just lights and colors and almost space.
Mm-hmm.
And it ends up, it'll last a bit, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, I'll start to think where am I, or what am I doing, or what's going on? And as soon as I start thinking about that, it fucking comes out of it. And so like I came out of it the first time, and then all of a sudden I opened up my eyes when I came out of it, and I started all of a sudden just having this serious. Well, first off, it felt even weird. Like I actually felt like there was like something like almost wrong with me. Like I was. It's gonna sound crazy, but another reason why I think there's something going on with your soul, because it honestly feels like I was an overcharged battery. Like I just shoved myself back in there, and I was like, no, I don't want. Like it was like I was stuffed with too much or something. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
Like I was ready to bust out of my seams again, and all of a sudden, all these things start fluttering into my mind to where it's gonna sound crazy, but this is something I've said that has happened to me every time I fucked with magic. I'll be honest, I fucked with magic for this reason. I will open up my eyes and know shit I never knew prior. It's all of a sudden you just start getting these fucking voices or these fucking images in your head, and it starts like putting puzzles together, and you start getting these ideas or things that you didn't understand. All of a sudden the answer's screaming in your fucking head.
Mm.
So like I have for these, I don't know how long, all I've been doing is studying the occult and, images and tarot. So it's like, that's the only shit in my head. So everything just starts fucking going together and all these things just start clicking. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then when I started taking into consideration that death might actually be real, then it just seemed like if you actually put that in there, a lot of stuff in occultism starts to make more fucking sense, I actually think. But so I had that experience. One of the things too from that experience that happens to me every time is my pupils will change. One of them will get pinned and the other one will get huge.
Whoa.
I don't know if this guy has an issue. I had seen one video because people were making fun of him or saying what the fuck's up with it, and I made a comment that happens to me when I have a magical experience, and then someone's like, oh, he's got so-and-so problems with the Liver King, and he was acting out going crazy, talking shit to Joe Rogan, and that motherfucker's got one pupil gigantic and the other one's fucking small.
Mm.
And I've said before, if you fuck with magic too much, you'll end up like Joe Biden or Kanye West. I mean, the Liver King was kind of acting like either one of them at that point.
Yeah.
He was fucking with magic.
Yeah.
He was a little bit too out there, and he was just fucking, he didn't reacclimate to reality yet.
Yeah.
And he was just silly and stupid. But that will happen to me. And I've even at one point, I ended up fucking around with magic probably about 3 times in a week. And I will be totally honest with you, that put me physically and mentally. I was just like, yo, I need to go to the hospital. I think there's something wrong with me.
Shit.
That sounds crazy. And the shit with my eyes was freaking me out too, because it was like, what the fuck is wrong with my eyeballs?
Right.
I'm like, yo, why is one gigantic and the other one's small? I was like, it's getting weird.
Oh, yeah.
And it felt like I was like, again, like I felt like somebody like hooked me up to a battery charger, and I was like, you got to unplug me. I'm going to fucking explode. Like I can't even release the energy enough, fast enough. So I was just like, even felt uncomfortable. I literally felt like I had fucking static electricity. That was another thing, like literally up and down my legs, bro. At one point I was like, yo, it's like either it feels like static or it's like, am I going crazy and think I got spiders on? I was like, yo, I got to get the fuck out of here. Yo, my vision too. That was another thing. I was even like, before I left, this is crazy, but like, I was only a few blocks away, but like, I'm like all fucked up. I physically don't feel good. My legs are even twitching. My eyes, my sight is even like a little off. I drove myself to the park and I was like, let me just chill out over there, walk around. Maybe I'll feel a little bit better. I'm walking through the fucking park and it's like, I'm like looking down at the distance and you can see like somebody would be walking up with their dog. And instead of like me seeing them just like walking normally with their dog, they're showing up as like light shooting out of the ground and then forming into a person and their dog. And I'm just like, yo, what the fuck? I was like, there's something wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
So fuck this. I drove myself to the hospital 10 minutes down the road. I was like, yo, what the fuck is wrong? I'll be honest. I was freaked out at first.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like seeing shit that's not normal. I'm having physical issues. I didn't feel good. I went to the hospital. They ended up keeping me there for like 2 or 3 days. They basically said, we think you have migraines. But the one thing that I thought was interesting is that they checked my blood and they did say your hemoglobin is jacked up to like 16.9. I think it's supposed to be around 13 or 14. They had to give me a bag of blood and a bag of saline. And then they were like, you might want to. They had me go to a place to where they thought I actually had this issue where some people, they don't know why the hemoglobin will get jacked up and you'll have to go once a month to like get blood to kind of basically thin you out. And I'm like, oh my God, like how the fuck is this? I don't have it.
Right.
I went the next time and they're like, you're good. They're like, you don't need anything. Come back one more time just to make sure, we think it's probably a fluke. It was just a weird thing that happened to you. Never happened again. So, but something that is interesting though, I don't know much about it. I got to get like me and my co-host Lisa. We need to really like look into it more. But like that issue does also involve plasma in your blood, which basically is like light. So I do wonder if, like, when they get into the whole adrenochrome and that type of shit, is there actually something in your blood that you're burning up, or that you're utilizing, you're using, or you're depleting, or whatever when you have a magical?
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, but so like, and then eventually, believe it or not, it took about a month for my eyes to go back to normal.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Even I was in the hospital for 3 days, and then I think my eye doctor, because they were like, your eyes seem fine, but this isn't normal, so you should really go see a specialist.
Yeah.
There's gotta be something. There's gotta be something here. Even when I went to go see this lady, she, did all these tests, and she's like, I can't tell you what the problem is. And she's like, the thing is, like, your eyesight's fine. Like, you're seeing everything fine. So I can't even tell you, like, if it's a problem or not. And I did say it looked like it got a little bit smaller since I've seen her. It got better. So she's like, maybe we'll just go back to normal.
Okay.
And then I was like, I was like, this is gonna sound crazy, because even when I had this magical experience, or these last few, I don't remember which one it was, something started me thinking, oh, it was probably because of my eyes getting fucked up. Something started making me think, I gotta look into the eye. Whatever, there's just like something up with the eyes, I have a feeling. And I was just like, I had asked her, I was like, this doesn't sound crazy. I said, but is it possible to where you could like actually look back into your brain? Is there a way you could shine light back there? And then she starts going, no. She's like, no. She's like, it'd be impossible for your eye to actually turn back there. And she's like, well, let me like explain to you real quick how vision works, so you can even understand why I'm saying that's not possible. And she starts drawing like how like the light reflects off of your lens and everything, but how it will go back into your eye. So she's explaining like, it does reflect actually, but your eye's not turning. And she's drawing this thing, and I'm like, I was like, it's the same fucking thing. She legit drew the fucking, basically that, as showing me how the light reflects off of my my lens. And I fucking showed her my tattoo. I said, it kind of looks like that, doesn't it? And she's looking at that. She's like, she's like, what's that from? I'm imagining. She's looking at me. I say the secret society. And she's looking at me, and she's like, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I totally weirded this lady out. I was gonna be like, what the fuck? I wish I would have kept in touch with her, but she was like, do you think it's possible you could get the paperwork from your hospital about like your whole, because I explained to her the whole thing. I was like, yeah, why? She's like, I'd really like to look at it. And she's like, especially like some of the other stuff. She's like, I'm very open. She's like, I think, how did she say? She's like, I think there's a lot of things out there that we can't see or understand, but it's real. I was like, oh shit. I never got back in touch with her or ever sent her the shit over, but yeah, I totally fucked her up when she saw it. She never even finished explaining what she was trying to explain, because I told her that shit. She was like, yo, what? And then started asking me about the paperwork to send her. And I never did, but I was like, I must have got her attention. She didn't even finish what she was saying.
Yeah, she was intrigued. She's like,
fuck.
Yeah. She's like, I always thought there was something.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, that was, it was probably quicker than I've told some other times. It probably wasn't as fantastical, but like that was like, my magical experiences. I do believe that, as crazy as it sounds, and again, it's not to get brownie points, but I do think to have an experience with God, you do have to kind of separate the flesh from the soul.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't think like God is gonna. I believe God is in everything, but I think if you really want to go back to the source, you kind of have to go to God. God's not coming to you. I feel, if I even want to look at it Kabbalistically, it's just the way I look at it. I turned my back from God and walked away from Him. He's still there, just waiting for me to come back.
Yeah, I think he'll put like opportunities for you to seek him out a lot in your life. Like I've talked about this on the show a few times.
100%.
Yeah, I've talked about this a few times on the podcast. My kids, all of a sudden, well, my son originally randomly started talking about God, and he made a TikTok where he posts scripture, like just like the paragraphs out of the Bible and stuff. I don't know if he's like doing it all the time, but he did start one, and he was talking to me about God and whatnot. And I asked him if he believed, and he goes, "Yeah, I do," and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, my daughter is like, "Can I get for Christmas?" This was just this past Christmas. She goes, "Can I get a Bible instead of an iPad?" And I was like, "You can definitely get a Bible instead of an iPad, but I'm going to tell you this right now: your mother already bought you an iPad, so you're getting the iPad either way." But like, to me, that was like, "Hey man, come back to me," kind of thing. Like, I like the most beneficial, the best way to get to me is through my kids, and that is negative or positive. If you wanna get to me positively, you do something that's good with my kids. If you want to get a negative reaction, you do something negative with my kids, and then there's a possibility that I'll be in jail if you do something negative with my kids. But
I know what you mean.
yeah,
Definitely
it,
a way to catch your attention is through.
yeah, it definitely sparked something in me to where I'm just like, dude, what is going on? And I'm like at the point where now I think I want to get baptized and shit.
Nice.
So Uh,
Beautiful.
yeah, man. I like meditation has been
Yo,
an issue for the longest time with me, but like you said, like you're never gonna shut your brain completely off. It would be nice, but if you could just focus on one thing, or even if maybe two things, and just kind of hone in on that, I think that would be beneficial. And I think nature plays a lot into being able to quiet yourself and to find yourself too. Like
oh,
spent connecting yourself to earth, grounding yourself is beneficial.
that was one thing, and I swear sometimes I wonder if it had anything to do with it. But before I started having my magical experiences, I was like severely spending a lot of time at like parks or in nature.
Mm,
And it honestly was more or less because of the whole situation with COVID.
right.
I wasn't wanted to be stuck inside, so I was like, well, I go to the parks because like people are too scared to even go there. So it's like it's kind of empty. So I was even spending a lot of time just even out in nature and shit. So I have actually wondered, like, did that have anything to do with it?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, honestly, my experience was probably due to a concoction of things that made that happen. I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is your occultic knowledge, and then obviously, like I think that's what I think, tying the nature thing into it, and then you just doing it, just
Yeah.
get trying to get into that meditation shit, and it's like, hey man, you're gonna see some shit.
No, that's the one thing I will say too. Even when it comes to like magic, I think sometimes like people like if they want to get into it, like if you take my experience as as true, you may get answers, or God may tell you things. You're like, shit, I wasn't ready for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might hear some hard truths that you might have to accept. Like for me, it rocked my world and changed my view of reality. I can never go back.
Yeah.
It's like a pickle. Once a cucumber becomes a pickle, you can't go back.
Right.
It's
Kills
done.
the ego.
Yo, yeah, you're like, fuck, I ain't shit.
I'm like a speck on the screen right now.
I'm like, fuck, for real, I really ain't shit.
Yeah.
This is unreal. Yeah, no, but there was just like for me, it's just like for certain things in my reality, just for or even just being like, I'll be totally honest, what was hard for me to accept, I was like, I just had the most beautiful, beyond dreams experience, and I have to come back here. That's not fair. I'm like, yo, what did I do wrong?
Why'd you send me back?
Is this hell?
Sometimes I think this is hell, technically.
It's very close. It's like on the urge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what did he say? We're like the worst part of heaven and the best part of hell. Like that, we're stuck in between.
Yeah. Oh man, purgatory too. I don't know what the fuck that would be, but that sounds fucking
Maybe that's
crazy.
here.
This actually, yeah. This could be purgatory. Like it's the
That even religious people do wonder.
yeah. Like because we're waiting to die, essentially. That's all we're doing here.
Yeah.
So, and then from there, that's where we're going to wherever. I don't know.
Yeah. Right.
There's so many different things about death that I believe, or that I'm like, oh well, maybe, or that I want to believe. Like there's things like for our souls to live on. Like I want to believe that.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
I do believe that, actually. I was always kind of like iffy about that, but from my magical experience, for some reason, for me, it's just I do believe in reincarnation.
Yeah. Reincarnation's scary because then, like, reincarnation, you don't remember who you were. That's the scary part of it. Yeah. So
I guess that's what makes you have to have the journey all over again, right?
yeah, the new lessons to learn and all that shit. So I do believe like anger and patience were like I had to overcome anger and learn patience is what I think has been my journey in this life has been. And I think talking to a couple mediums and stuff like that, I think that's been what I have been supposed to be learning throughout a few lifetimes now, and I just haven't gotten there yet. So,
Yeah,
I mean, who
that's
knows? Who knows? I spent a lot of my life being angry, and now I'm just kind of more like mellow.
angry and fearful for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Nick, man, dude, that was a crazy experience that I want to explore more knowledge into that stuff for sure. But yeah. But I definitely want to have you come back on soon. So, but if you don't mind, let everybody know one last time where they can find you and all your show and stuff.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the Occult Rejects. It's on BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, all major podcasts. Then we do have, I forgot to mention it before, occultresearchinstitute.org. We do have that website. That is a lot of the Occult Rejects or people that we work with that if you're into reading, a lot of long form reading, a lot of there's even like scientific paperwork that somebody's put up there on Oregon that they've done. It's a lot of reading, and there might be some videos. We have some people that might have added some of their YouTube videos. But if you're into reading, there's a lot of information on that website, and it's free. So check it out: occultresearchinstitute.org and the Occult Rejects on all major podcasts.
Nice, man. Nice. One last question I have for you real quick before I let you go is, are you finding fulfillment in your life doing your podcast and all that stuff?
Yeah, I actually, it's going to sound cheesy as hell, but after my magical experience, I actually do believe that if I was given a gift from God, the only thing I should be doing with that is trying to help others have the same experience. And part of my podcasting is doing that. So, yes, it's fulfilling me, and I do believe I'm doing my will, actually.
Dope, man. Dope. I like that. I like that. Well, man, thank you for taking the time to do this. I know you didn't want to do it in the morning, but that's
No, it's perfectly fine. Get it out of the day. I'm going to head to the gym now. Woke me up.
Perfect.
Ready to go.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to the gym too.
Awesome.
All right. All right. For the listeners, thank you for being here. Please check out Nick's show if you haven't already. But other than that, please like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a rating and review. Those are the free ways to help support the show and help it grow. Also, if your podcatcher doesn't allow you to leave a rating and review, please consider doing so on the website wheretheweirdonесarepodcast.com. There's also where you can get merch, much like the shirt behind me. There's a whole bunch of other designs, hot sauce, coffee, and supplements. Check them out.
Okay.
Yeah, I got some hot sauce. I'll show you a bottle.
Yeah, that guy Ron from New England I was telling you about that you don't know, he makes his own hot sauce too.
No shit. Goddamn, now I'm gonna have to look him up. All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so other than that, guys, you know the drill. Question everything and stay weird.
In the quiet of the night, when the world feels far, there's a voice through the static, like a falling star. It calls the misfits, the dreamers, the ones who see the shadows in the corners, the truth we barely believe. From the pine tree woods to the desert skies, they talk of ghosts and aliens with wonder in their eyes. Not afraid to ask the questions that others won't dare. 'Cause the world gets strange when you stop and stare. Come gather round where the weird ones are, by the fireside glow or a midnight car, where the stories run deep and the secrets fly like owls in the dark or stars in the sky. If you've ever felt lost like you don't belong, you found your place, you found your song, right here where the weird ones are. They'll talk of cryptids, time slips, and deja vu, of spirits that linger and what might be true. But more than the monsters, it's the people you'll find who dare to be open with curious minds. It's not about fear, it's the thrill of the ride, to question the world with wonder as guide. So pull up a chair, let your freak flag fly, we're the seekers of truth beneath the sky. Yeah, come gather around where the weird ones are, on the moonlit thoughts and cosmic scars, where the veil feels thin and the questions burn, and we chase the strange at every turn. You're not alone, not in the dark, you're with a tribe. You found the spark right here where the weird ones are. For the ones who wonder, for the ones who know, welcome home.